David sat up in his room and turned up the volume in his headphones. The echoes of his parents' insults off the walls as they shouted incessantly at each other were overwhelming and overbearing. Their paychecks were dismembered immediately to cover debts and to make sure all the other bills were paid. His parents were already in their late 40s, but they still had to work late nights and third shifts to make ends meet. David would come home from school to an empty house except for a few letters on the front door marked second and third notice. The truth was, his parents had never saved or invested anything that they earned. One night, as David lay awake in bed, his parents yelled at each other for hours. It was in that moment of restless uneasiness when David decided that he was never going to have that kind of financial peril ever. When he got to college, it was as if life had presented him with a fresh start to control his destiny and his finances the way that he wanted. He took every job he could find and socked away all the money. He didn't spend careless amounts of money on booze, and he didn't want to waste money away buying pizza after pizza. Of course he had his fun, but David always knew to sock away more than he spent. When he finally graduated from college, he was ready and willing to start to save more from every paycheck that he received to plan for a future where he would be more financially secure. He couldn't wait for that day to arrive, but it already had. The moment he graduated, most of his peers moved back home with their parents. Many of them struggled to find jobs and ended up having to take lower wage jobs just to make ends meet, while they stressed to find pocket of their time for interviews. David, on the other hand, didn't have any of these problems. He had saved his entire time through college, and he was more than able to get his own place and pay his own bills. In fact, he could afford to wait and only take the interviews that truly mattered to him. He had more time every day to focus on his present and his future, while his peers were trying to make up for lost time by scraping together money they never saved just to survive. The entire time David had been saving, he was paying himself first, as if his savings account was a bill payment like anything else. Thus, as his future unfolded, those bills indeed materialized, and because he was able to save, he could knock them out one by one with ease. But it was even better than that. As many of David's peers took their first paychecks and blew them off by going out to bars, David didn't have to. He could afford fun nights out with his friends without having to sacrifice part of his paycheck. That means that he could invest more and he could put more money into his 401. Einstein said that one of the most powerful sources in the universe was compound interest. That is incredibly true. Since David started saving so early, he could start investing early. And as the years went on, his gains doubled, tripled, and quadrupled, decades before investments made by his peers managed even the most modest upward movement. So pay yourself first.